James Madison has stated that Spurs fans need to be patient and hopefully success is just around the corner. Pedro Porro has not been named in the Spain squad. Spurs will face QPR in a friendly in July. Spurs are again being linked to Chelsea captain and midfielder Conor Gallagher. Various reports are stating that Emerson Royale is on AC Milan's top target list. The development side have just won the Premier League 2 title. Clubs are looking at Joe Rhoden ahead of the summer transfer window. Spurs are tracking 18-year-old Birmingham City star, according to the Football Insider. Troy Parrott on his future. The date we will find out our Europa League opponents, and Mikey Moore on the score sheet again for the England under-17s.
Chris Cowlin. Fan cams. Club news. Transfer news. Match previews. Legend interviews. Spurs winning. Press conferences. Covering everything Tottenham and England.
Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So let's start with some news that Spurs released on Monday afternoon. Our men's first team will face Queen's Park Rangers in a pre-season match at Loftus Road on Saturday, the 20th of July. Kick-off time 3 p.m. Ticket details for this fixture will follow in due course. Next up, James Madison was talking to Sky Sports on Tuesday morning, all about Tottenham's season and boss Ange Postecoglou. This is what he said. There has definitely been progress. The Spurs fans need to be patient. It's a work in progress. Ange Postecoglou is taking the club in the right direction. Believe me, exciting times ahead for Tottenham. He is very demanding, he has high standards, and he has won everywhere that he has gone. It's refreshing as a player. We know that we can trust him. Hopefully success is just around the corner. Sky Sports have reported that AC Milan are interested in signing Tottenham Hotspur right-back Emerson Royale, and he is one of their top targets for the summer transfer window. Gianluca Di Marzio, of course, well-known Italian journalist, he has also reported on this story, and he has stated that AC Milan have held talks with Emerson Royale's agent already, as he is one of AC Milan's top targets for the summer. There are also reports from Brazil, and they are stating that AC Milan and Bayern Munich have both placed offers for the Tottenham Hotspur right back, and the stories are stating that Emerson Royale would prioritise his mental health when choosing his new club when he leaves Spurs. It also states that Emerson Royale's contract with Tottenham Hotspur runs until 2026, and he is currently valued around €30 million. Now, the Daily Mail have just reported there are a number of Premier League clubs interested in Tottenham Hotspur centre-back Joe Rhoden, who, of course, spent this season on loan at Leeds United. And they, of course, lost a playoff final against Southampton, so they have not made it up to the Premier League. Earlier on this season, Joe Rhoden, talking about where he will play his football next year, he said, "It would be nice to have stability and know where I am next season. I've always strived to get to the elite level, and hopefully I can get back there with Leeds, but you never know." Rhoden then went on to say, "I don't want to look too far into the future, although I do love it here and Leeds feels like a second home to me now. I'm just concentrating on giving my best and getting this club back to where it belongs." A report has just been published by the Football Insider, and they are stating that Chelsea, Manchester United and Spurs are all chasing Birmingham City sensation Manswe. The 18-year-old attacking midfielder is out of contract this summer, and despite being yet to feature for the first team, he is highly rated both within the club and externally. So, of course, Tottenham Hotspur finished 5th in the Premier League table, meaning that we will be playing Europa League football next season. Now, Tottenham Hotspur will find out their league phase opponents when the draw is made on Friday, the 30th of August. On Monday evening, Spurs star Mikey Moore played again for the England under-17 side. They beat Spain 3-1. Mikey Moore was on the score sheet yet again in the 73rd minute, and the goal was a special one. Top corner from outside the box. Now, Spurs right back Pedro Porro has not been named in Spain's squad for Euro 2024. He wrote the following on social media following the announcement. I was very excited about the possibility of being able to represent my country in the European Championships, but in the end, it won't be possible this time. Respect and admiration for my colleagues who will be defending our colours. From here, I will be one more person supporting the team and hope that we have great joy. Come on, guys. Now, Tottenham are yet again being linked to Chelsea captain and midfielder Conor Gallagher. The Times newspaper have just reported it is expected that Tottenham Hotspur will place a bid for Conor Gallagher this summer. Chelsea are expected to sell a number of players before the 30th of June to comply with financial rules. In the last couple of days, it has been reported by the Northern Echo that Spurs are interested in a couple of Middlesbrough players. Raf van der Berg and Hayden Hackney are on a long list of potential targets for Ange Postecoglou this summer. Now, Troy Parrott, who has had a very successful season in the Dutch league for Excelsior, has been talking about his future. He said, I don't know exactly what will happen. I still have more matches here and then perhaps international matches too, but I'm looking forward to next season. He was also asked the question, does he want to play for Spurs again in the future? He said, I've always wanted that ever since I came to the UK. So on Sunday, the Tottenham Hotspur under-21s, the development side, were crowned Premier League 2 champions. Of course, they finished first in the division, but they had to play a number of playoff games, and they went all the way to the final, beat Sunderland 3-1 in the final at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Will Lankshear has scored a bag full of goals this season. He's been on fire, as well as many other players in that team. But Will Lankshear was named and received the award for the Premier League 2 Player of the Season before the game. Spurs beat Sunderland 3-1 on Sunday to win the playoff final. Will Lankshear scored a brace. After the game, he said, I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to work hard in the off-season. I can only work on what I can control. That is working hard, not losing focus. If it is for the under-21s or the first team next season when I come back, I will give it my all and try to score as many goals as I can for whichever team I play for. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let me just say, what a couple of weeks it's been. Of course, the Premier League season has ended. Spurs finished 5th. That is progress, in my opinion. We will be playing Europa League football next year. I'm excited about being back in Europe. Of course, a lot of us wanted Champions League. But when you think about the progress, when you think about Ange Postecoglou's first season, when you think of everything and see the bigger picture, I think it has been a successful season. I think that, every time I say that, I always use the caveat that, Spurs need to continue working hard in these transfer windows, the upcoming transfer windows, and do virtually the same as what we did in the last summer transfer window. The last window was a decent one. And that's exactly what we need yet again. A number of players still need to go out the door. I think you all know who they are. A number of players need to come in the door, and when we're playing European football, i.e. the Europa League next season, you need to strengthen in all areas and pretty much have two, decent starting 11. So you can rotate a lot of players as and when you need to, playing European football, Premier League football, and hopefully we will go a lot further than we did this season in the FA Cup and the League Cup. But overall, I think it's been a decent season. It was great to go out to Australia for the game against Newcastle to see how, I've seen it before, but, to see it in Australia again, how well supported this football club is. Nearly 80,000 Spurs fans turning up for a post-season friendly just a couple of days after the Premier League season finished was fantastic. I thought that Ange handled it really well, controlled it really well, in the fact that he took a number of stars, i.e. James Maddison, Heung-min Son, etc. Of course, James Madison scored the goal for us. But it was a really, really decent trip. A tiring trip. I was only there for 3 nights, but a great trip in terms of, Spurs spreading their wings again around the world, and seeing that level of support for Spurs, and full respect to the Australian fans when they're getting up at 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. to watch our games sometimes, and then they go to work afterwards, and the level of commitment and support is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, a really, really good trip. Now, that brings me on to talking about pre-season friendlies, because, Spurs have just arranged a pre-season friendly against Queen's Park Rangers in July. Wow, fantastic. This is back to the old days. I was only saying this on the radio the other day, that, it used to be Spurs playing the likes of Swindon, Oxford and Colchester and teams like this. And now, of course, we go off and go to all of these countries. But yeah, I'm really glad that Spurs are doing both this year. I think it's a great combination. Queen's Park Rangers, and then of course we go to Japan, and then we go to South Korea, and then of course Spurs then come back and have the final pre-season friendly against, or final pre-season friendly at the moment. You never know, they might squeeze another one in like they did last year away at Barcelona. But the last pre-season friendly should be before the season starts, the Premier League season starts. Another friendly against Bayern Munich, because of course we'll be playing Bayern Munich the week before in South Korea. But I'm so glad that we are playing a pre-season friendly here in England against QPR, of course London rivals as well. So that's great. James Maddison has come out and said that Spurs fans need to be patient. Hopefully success is just around the corner. I've been saying that all season. I completely agree with everything that he has said. Of course, some of us, some Spurs fans are very impatient. They want everything to happen, immediately. But when you look at the transfer windows, when you look at the type of football that Ange Postecoglou wants to play, when you look at, what some of the players want to do on the pitch, some of these players have to go out the door. There is no doubt or question about that. We are still going through a major rebuild. Everything was never ever going to be done in one season. But I love the way that Ange speaks. I love the way that he has acted in press conferences and after games and before games, and I think he has been a breath of fresh air. Don't get me wrong though, I think it's going to be very, very tough for next season. I think it's going to be an even bigger test for Ange. But by it being a bigger test, we need better players in. He needs to be heavily backed in the transfer window. But when, and if you have players like Heung-min Son and James Maddison on form, throughout the whole year, because I don't want to sit here and give excuses about, we've had lots of injuries, because of course every Premier League team has injuries, but it's about the transfer windows. It is about now driving the club forward in the right direction. Madison has come out today and said that, Postecoglou is definitely taking the club in the right direction. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with what James Maddison has said. Pedro Porro not being named in the Spain squad for Euro 2024. I tell you what a classy response, what a classy post from Pedro Porro. Wish him all the very best for the future, and he has certainly come on leaps and bounds. I think he has been really, really decent for us. I think he's really worked on his defensive game going forward. I think he's got a fantastic shot on him. I think he can get a great cross in the box as well. But I think, having said that, I still think there is a lot more growth and a lot more improvement to come from Pedro Porro. And he is still only young, and I'm sure that he will play a lot of international matches in the future. But I do think that is a very, very classy response, because so many players would have sat there sulking and would have probably, we've seen it before, players have deleted things off social media and got the right hump. But I think that was a very, very classy response. Conor Gallagher, we're being linked with Conor Gallagher again. It seems like the last couple of windows we've been linked with Conor Gallagher, and it seems that it's very, very true that Ange Postecoglou is a big fan of Conor Gallagher. I've always said, particularly whilst Abramovich was Chelsea chairman, that Chelsea and Spurs will just not do business with one another. But now, of course, the owners have changed. Things have changed. Chelsea need to sell players. This one is going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that develops, because they need to sell players because of financial rules, etc. Let me now come on to talking about Sunday. Spurs winning the Premier League 2 title, and of course they won the playoff game against Sunderland 3-1 as well. Lankshear scoring a brace, and captain George Abbott who of course was involved in the game in Australia against Newcastle. I tell you, Sunday was special. Really, really special to see the under-21 side, to see the development side lifting both trophies, one for finishing first and one for winning the playoffs. You know, it was a brand new format this season with the under-21s. And let me also just add that last season, you know, we were meant to be relegated. And then all of a sudden, we were saved by this new format. So although a lot of people criticise this new format of us then finishing first, we've gone from finishing, you know, right at the bottom, you know, getting relegated, to then finishing top. So Wayne Burnett and his coaching staff and everyone involved in the development side have been incredible this season. We have played some super entertaining stuff. The goals that we have scored, you know, the amount of goals, the quality of the goals, they have never ever gave up in games. There have been times this season where we've been 3-0 down at half time. They've come back to win the game 4-3. This has been the type of mentality that they have had all year. The grit, the determination, the firepower up front has been amazing. Will Lankshear was rightly named Premier League 2 Player of the Season. Players like Jamie Donnelly have been on fire. Santiago. You know, the list is endless. You know, Dorrington at the back, who is now out, he's out for the next couple of months. Luca Gunter really kept Spurs in the game on Sunday. If it wasn't for him in goal, you know, making a number of saves, then that game could have gone very, very different. But to see the under-21s, to see a trophy lifted at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, that was a special moment. A lot of people wrote in the comments when I posted pictures and videos up of us lifting the trophy. A lot of people were saying, you know, let it be the first team now. Hopefully we will see that one day. Hopefully we will see that one day at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But it was a special moment, you know, because I follow all of the sides, whether it's the women, the under-21s, the under-18s on occasions, and of course the first team all over. So it's great to see the development of some of these players lifting trophies, getting that winning mentality. You know, and hopefully a number of these guys now will be knocking on the door to Ange Postecoglou, and hopefully a number of them will get game time next season. A lot of them deserve it. Mikey Moore is one as well. I know he's had a couple of sub appearances at the end of the Premier League campaign, but he's scoring goals for fun for the England under-17s at the moment. Another fantastic goal on Monday evening. You know, it's got everyone talking. He was even trending Monday evening on X, and rightly so. The finish was absolutely world class. Top corner finish from outside the box. Troy Parrott, that one's going to be an interesting one, because of course he's gone out on loan to Excelsior in the Dutch league. He's done extremely well, scored a hat-trick the other day. His finishing has been really good. Will he come back to Tottenham? Will he get game time at Tottenham? I'm not so sure. I think the Spurs will probably look to offload him in the summer window. Clubs are looking at Joe Rhoden, according to the Daily Mail and according to other outlets. I think it's fully expected that Joe Rhoden will go out the door as well this summer. You know, he's done a decent job for Leeds, but I can't honestly see that Joe Rhoden's going to come back and play a minute under Ange Postecoglou. That's just my thoughts. That is just my feeling about it. The date we will find out our Europa League opponents, that will be the 30th of August. Of course, that is a new format for next season as well. New format for the Champions League, new format for the Europa League. It's going to be very interesting for those of you that don't know or that haven't seen or heard previous podcasts where I've explained it. We will actually be playing, you know, it's going to be a huge league. We will actually play 8 teams. 4 of them at home, 4 of them away, and they are different opponents. So the 8 games that we will play in the group stage, they will be against 8 different opponents. So that is the 30th of August. So put that date in your diary. I am looking forward to seeing Spurs back in Europe next season. But of course now, is all about transfers. There's going to be an awful lot of speculation, lots of rumours, lots of reports. You know, I'll be putting it out on a daily basis from now until the transfer window ends. But all I would say is this: hopefully we have another extremely busy window, a number of players out the door, and a number of players of real quality. You know, a lot better than what we've got in this current squad. So you know, hopefully Ange Postecoglou will really improve the squad. Hopefully he will create, you know, virtually two, you know, really decent teams. Because as I said earlier, you know, playing in Europa League, playing in European football, you know, you need real depth. You know, you need two decent right backs. You need two decent left backs. You need cover again, centre back. You know, I think even Spurs, you know, Fraser Forster is still at the club. I think that Spurs may even look at bringing in another backup goalkeeper. You know, the midfield area we've spoken about, and you know, every single Spurs fan has said about the midfield area that we need something else in there. You know, we need a striker up front. It's going to be interesting to see whether Richarlison goes out the door. It'd be interesting to see whether another winger comes in. When you look at all of the different areas on the pitch, and when you look at the squad, I know it would be great to see a number of development players coming in and getting minutes as well, but you know, in some games, you know, certainly the European ones, you need to just get the job done, and then perhaps give some of the younger players, you know, experience in Europe. But it's going to be an interesting one. I'm expecting a very, very busy summer, and I'm sure Ange Postecoglou is as well. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you listen to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'll see you on the next one. Stay well. Come on, you Spurs.